Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again, and this is a very exciting video. I'm super excited to finally unbox my first ever fold device. This is the Z Fold 4 by Samsung, and it also came with the standing cover and S Pen for the Galaxy Fold. So as I said, this is my very first fold device. Now, I did have the Samsung Galaxy Flip 3. I had that for about 6 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. I did a full review. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on my channel. I'll have a link of that in the description below. And I loved it. I absolutely loved the Flip 3. The only major issue I had with it was the battery life. I know a lot of people with the folding devices, their biggest concern is the crease, or essentially the durability of the phone, and I had neither of those issues with my usage of the Flip 3. The crease just went away naturally after a few hours of use, at least in my personal opinion, and the durability was just fine. I never had any issues with scratching the display or feeling like it was a piece of fragile tech or anything like that. It really felt like a premium, sturdy device, and I even dropped it a couple times and never had any issues with feeling like it was going to break. A lot of people have said the same thing about the Fold design as well the last few years. The Fold 2 was a huge increment upgrade over the Fold 1. Fold 3 was a little bit less of an upgrade compared to the Fold 2, but it had a lot of really good additions, including water resistance. And now going to the 3 to the 4, not as many upgrades going to the 4, but you also still get that water resistance. You get a little bit better front-facing camera. This is the one on the big folding screen that is now more hidden or less behind the screen, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to see what that's all about. It's got much better cameras this time around, and essentially a better battery life and a much better processor, and a little bit of a bigger front screen. So, with all that aside, this is the 512 gigabyte model for AT&T. Samsung has an amazing trade-in deal going on right now, so if you haven't heard about it, check it out in the description below. I'm not affiliated with them or in any way, shape, or form. I paid for this with my own money, but I did trade in, which I have not done yet, but I did trade in my Galaxy S22 Plus. This is the phone I've been using for the past like 3 or 4 months, maybe longer than that now that I think about it. I have enjoyed my time with it, but I have had a few gripes with it, mainly with the battery life and with the performance. Strangely enough, I've been very shocked at the performance on this. It's just kind of laggy. It feels like a phone that I've had for over 2 years at this point, which is not a good feeling. Everything else has been wonderful. The cameras are great, and performance at the beginning was amazing. Multitasking has been great. The screen is beautiful. I love the design of this thing. You know, the main issue though is it's just been laggy and glitchy, and I'm really hoping I don't have the same experience with the Fold. But with that, let's just jump into it, and then I'll do comparison afterward. So let's get our knife here. I'm going to just show not much around the box here. There's just the name on the side there, or Samsung name, I should say. Some little detailed information on the back. Nothing on the sides, and then on the bottom here is just some information that only I should know about my IMEI status and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy. We're just gonna cut the tape here. Lift that up. It looks like all the manuals are on the left side here, so let's pull this out first before we get into the phone. And there we go. All right. So we got my SIM card on the right here. We have the SIM ejection tool and a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. Now this is a thing that every reviewer has complained about, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Samsung, come on. $2,000 phone, and you're not going to put a charging brick in the box? I remember when the first Fold came out, that thing came with wireless earbuds, the brand new Galaxy Buds. It came with, I think, wired headphones as well, if I remember right, as well as obviously a charging cable and the charging brick. That was, it just gave you a really good experience for unboxing. It's a one thing, you only do it one time, right? You want to have a very luxurious experience when unboxing a device like this, when you're paying this much money. Yeah, you're getting a great phone, but God, the unboxing experience has just gotten so downhill these past few years. It's really sad. So I really wish in the next iteration they would include at least a charging brick in the box. Just give you a little bit extra something to do, right? That being said, let's just pretend this came in the box with it and it wasn't by itself. So let's get this out of the way as well before we get into the actual phone. Just cut that. Slide it out. Nothing else in there. All right, so this must be the S Pen in here. Got a little instruction manual. And we got a makeshift kind of box, I guess, for the phone. All right. So first impressions, it's got a really nice matte finish. It has a little bit of a rubbery texture to it, but not super intrusive. The inside's more of just plastic. It does feel durable. It doesn't flex too much. Now this built into it is the stand. So you can actually use it as a stand, which is pretty cool for viewing. And then this actually, if I remember right, just pops off. Yep, slides right out. And then in here, or maybe it's with the pen itself. Let's check. Yes. So here is the holder for the pen as well. This is the S Pen itself. Very cool. And this just slides right into place. And then there you go. You got the little S Pen on the back, which is super cool, very convenient. And this was free with the device if you get it through the Samsung website, like I said before. You can trade in any device and get up to $900 off the new Fold 4. Insane. And yeah, it comes with this free case, which is like a $90 value with the S Pen. So super cool. It feels really good. Honestly, this is not going to fall out by itself. Like, you have to really put a lot of pressure to pull that out. And it's got a nice magnet in there. You can probably hear it. Hopefully I catch that on microphone, but yeah, it's got a magnet in there that really holds it in place. That's good to see. And then the front is just a little tiny bumper, nothing too crazy. Looks like it's got some stickers here to help it stay on a little easier. Hopefully those work pretty nicely. But yeah, with that being said, oh wait, what's this? What's this little guy? Oh, that's pretty cool. So it does include some extra tips for the pen. And then this little tool here lets you get the tip out and replace them. So it is good that they include those in the box. You don't have to buy them in the future. Now, every time I've had an S Pen with any of Samsung's devices, I've never had to swap out the tips because I don't push very hard on my devices. So we'll see, I guess, in the time to come how much you'll be using that, but it's pretty cool. Here's a little bit closer up view of the S Pen itself. I like the color. I really like this gray-green color that they came out with this year. Try to get a little bit closer there so you can see the Fold Edition on the right side there. Got the button, and then the tip. It feels pretty sturdy. It's pretty hefty, actually. It's not heavy, but for an S Pen, this is definitely a heftier S Pen, and I gotta hand them to that for very good constructed design. All right, so let's put all this stuff to the side for right now. We'll put the case on after. And let's get to the main attraction, the Fold 4. So here we go, lifting it up. And first impressions, it's pretty hefty. It's got some weight to it. Compared to the Galaxy S22 Plus, this feels very light compared to the Fold. I mean, obviously it's twice its size when it's folded open, but yeah, it definitely has some substantial weight to it, but in a very good way. Nice premium weight to it, I guess the best way to describe it. Let's get this little plastic cover off here as well. I think we just peel from, here we go, from the side first. Got the front screen. Try not to get it all fingerprinty. Oh yeah, there we go. Gorgeous. Beautiful screen. And let's do our first fold here on camera. Oh man, that feels crazy. The hinge is so strong. Now again, this might just be because I've never held or used a folding phone in my life except for the Flip. I've never used the actual Fold by Samsung. The hinge is just like 3 times as strong as the Flip. You can just really feel that weight of that hinge in a good way. Again, this is very good. We do have a little bit of a gap in between the two phone spaces here, so this is gonna worry me a little bit of maybe getting pocket lint or sand in there over time, but again, it'll just have to decide or depend on how much you use the phone and where you use it. Obviously not a phone you want to use on the construction site or anything like that, but it is a gorgeous looking phone. I'm going to take the sticker off the back here. And we do have, again, this is the gray-green color. I may have cut myself off prior. I'm just so excited about this. The gray-green in person, in my opinion, I might be colorblind, I don't know, looks more blue to me. It looks more gray-blue. I'd say more gray than anything. I really like it. I love this color. It really shines. I usually go with strict black is usually the color I go with phones, but lately these last two phones, like the Galaxy S22 Plus here, I went with more of the green, I think it was, or it was like a sage blue. I don't really know exactly what color this was, but I do love these cool offset colors. I've never been a huge fan of super bright, eye-piercing colors, and these are definitely the way to go, in my opinion, when it comes to colors for your phone. And I like that the cases are actually matching the color of the phone too. So you're not just getting a black standard case that covers up your beautiful phone. So that is cool that it matches. So with that, let's power it up, see if it's got any juice in it. I think this is the power button over here. And it looks like we might not have any. Oh, there we go. It vibrated. Okay. So as you can see, we got the front display here. And I wish I had the old Fold to compare this to show you guys the differences in size of the front display, because it has moved. I think they said like 3 or 4 millimeters in width, which it doesn't seem like a lot, but when I've watched videos of people comparing the two, the Fold 3 and the 4 together, it is definitely noticeable. So as you can see, we got it open and on, and man, that screen is crazy. It's gonna be so cool testing this out with texting and social media apps and stuff like that. But I'm off camera. I'm gonna get it set up, and I'm gonna put the case on and everything, and we'll come back as everything is set up, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, it's been about an hour, maybe a little longer than that. I finally got everything set up on the Fold 4 over here, and then this is the old phone, the Galaxy S22 Plus. Just a quick little comparison. So this is a 6.6 AMOLED display, so full HD, quad HD to be exact, 120 hertz, beautiful, beautiful display. And then over here, it doesn't seem that much of a difference on paper, but the 6.2 inch display, again, quad HD, 120 hertz, pretty much the exact same display. It's just shaved down a little bit in width. Well, I should say a little bit, it's a lot of it. Because if you put them right next to each other, you can really tell the difference between the thickness, essentially, or width of these screens. It's night and day when they're together. Now, I will say, after a few minutes of actually messing around with the Fold 4 and going through different apps and seeing what things looked like with this skinny display, I got used to it pretty quickly. At first, it was a turn off, and I was kind of like, I'm not really feeling the really thick or the really skinny display. I'm not really feeling how small the text is, how small the keyboard is when you're texting people. It did turn me off. That being said, though, literally 5 minutes of use, and I got used to it pretty quickly, and I didn't even really notice it was as skinny as it is. And it is really good for one-handed use, and that's the point of it, because if you're taking this phone out and you don't want to have to open it up to the full display, you can use it just with one-handed with the front-facing screen. And I think that's a great idea, and it works. It really works. Every single app you could ever think of runs just fine with the front-facing display here, as well as gaming. I have tried a few games on here, and it does work just as fine as on the full open display, as well as watching content such as YouTube. Will you be doing a lot of that stuff with the front-facing display? Probably not. Most of the content you're probably going to use with the full 7.6 inch display. That's right, the inner display here is 7.6 inches, so quite the dramatic difference compared to the 6.6 over here. But with that being said, again, the front display is perfect. It's fine for everything you're ever going to do with one hand, especially if you're just on the go and you have to do a quick little reply to somebody. You can easily do that with the front display. So thumbs up for Samsung for doing that, and also making it a little bit wider this time around. I would hope to see in the future, I actually would probably prefer it a little bit wider. So if they could maybe make it a little shorter, but a little wider, I think that would be perfect for like a Z Fold 5 concept. But yeah, essentially after an hour of use, again, I've gotten to test it out for a little bit, mess around with it, log into all my apps, send a few text messages, make a phone call to test it out. I have to say that this is gorgeous. This is by far the best media consumption device you can get on the market right now. And you are not going to be sorry once you actually start looking at content on this gigantic display. It is just a world difference. And it still blows my mind that this is on a device that folds up and fits in your pocket. So just by going into a video, let's watch a Linus Tech Tips video real quick here. As you can see, you can use it just like normal, where you can watch the video on top and then you can scroll through, if we get this ad to go away, and actually look at comments while you're in here, which is pretty cool. So let's click on there. So you can view watching a lot of screen real estate up here while also replying to people in the comments, which is pretty cool. Or you can obviously rotate it and you get the full screen experience. You're just going to have a lot of letterboxing depending on the aspect ratio of the video, but you can also zoom in if you want to fill up the entire display. And look at that. That is a lot of screen real estate. Yes, you're cutting off a lot of the video because you zoomed in, but for multimedia purposes, this is the best you're ever going to get on the go, in a smartphone factor, I should say. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It looks great. The 120 hertz is beautiful for scrolling through text, and of course for video. The brightness, it does get very, very bright. I have not tested this outside yet to see what it's like with direct sunlight, but that it's at full brightness there. Hopefully you can see a little bit better on the screen here. And then the coolest thing that they've talked about with the new features with the Galaxy Fold 4 is this new taskbar at the bottom, which reminds me a lot of like a computer. So for instance, right from the get-go, you can go right into all your apps with one click of the button. You don't have to actually swipe home and then swipe up to get to your app tray. It's right there, always on the go, no matter what app you're in. On top of that, you have a quick access to all of your most recent apps, or you can lock this in place to the main apps on your home screen. So the main apps I have on my home screen, which are my call button, my texting, internet browser, gallery, and then the camera. But again, it's all right there, ready to go in a little tiny taskbar. Super cool. And if you want to just jump right into one of them, for instance, let's say we want to go right into making a phone call, click the call button, make that go away, and right there you can make a call while still watching your video if you want to. Or you can make this go away if you don't really want to multitask at the moment. But yeah, the multitasking is the biggest thing with the Fold 4 and where most of the features are going to come into play. So if you don't really see yourself as much of a multitasker, which I'm going to be honest, I don't really multitask too often, but I can see myself multitasking a lot with the Fold 4 because of just how easy it is. And with that taskbar, just how simple it is to go right into a dual situation. So for instance, let's say I wanted to go into Discord, right? Let's say I wanted to go into my Discord and I wanted to reply to somebody. So I don't know, let's just go into videos here. And let's say I wanted to reply to somebody, but at the same time, I wanted to be watching a YouTube video. So let's go back into YouTube real quick. We're going to keep continuing to play that. And then while that's playing, I'm going to swipe up to go to our split view mode here. Click on my Discord, open in split screen view. And then we got both on both sides here. So I'm going to choose YouTube, go back to the video. And you can also change the orientation of this as well. So if I wanted it to be up and down, which is actually the way I'd prefer it because I get more screen real estate, you can see Linus on the bottom here. And then up here, we still have my entire Discord. And if I wanted to bring up the keyboard, I think this would make more sense having YouTube on top. So I'm going to click on that, the little button there, and it switches it to the top. So now if I were to go back into Discord and I start typing, I can still see my video not really being covered up by Discord, which is pretty awesome. And the keyboard on here, I was a little bit worried at first as well, like, was this going to be very uncomfortable for typing? The Samsung keyboard by default is split in half, so you have like a big section missing in the middle, and it spreads out the keyboard to both sides to make it easier for your thumbs. Honestly though, I prefer it just having a regular QWERTY keyboard, just gigantic, and I can stretch around pretty easily because I have relatively large hands. Not a big deal for me, but it's cool that you get those options. So if you do want to have a full-blown keyboard like this, you can do that, or you can have it smaller and split in half if you do have smaller hands. So you don't have to worry about having any cramps or anything like that while you're using the keyboard on the Galaxy Fold 4. But yeah, multitasking, like I said, is a breeze on this thing. It works really well, and it's a very fast, zippy phone. This is exactly the experience I had when I first got the S22 Plus. And again, the experience is just fluid. It's butter is the best way to describe it. No lag, no stuttering, no apps crashing. And with the Fold, you can just switch between screens on the fly without any lag or stutter, which is pretty awesome. And I'm just hoping it stays that way. So again, this is not in anywhere, shape, or form a full review. I didn't get into any of the specs or anything like that in this video. This is essentially an unboxing and first hands-on impressions of the Galaxy Fold 4. If you would like to see me do a full video review, let me know in the comment section below. I definitely will in the near future. But that being said, yeah, I'm curious to see how battery life is going to be on the Fold 4 and on the experience with the software. Is it going to get continuous updates? Is it going to continue being fluid and buttery? Or is it going to start stuttering and lagging and having a few issues here and there like I've had with the S22? Only time really tell. The last thing I want to talk about before getting to the end of the video here, the thickness. Now, I didn't talk about this when I first unboxed it, but this is a chunky boy. I don't know if this can really get it on camera to really show you the difference in thickness. Obviously, there's also a case on here. It's going to add a little bit more thickness to it, but it's quite the hefty ordeal. It's different. It's definitely different. It feels way different than what I'm used to when it comes to cell phones or smartphones in general. So it is going to be something you're going to have to get used to, especially in your pocket. It's not only thicker, but it's also hefty. It's very heavy compared to regular smartphones. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No, because you do get a heavier premium feeling phone, and when you're spending that amount of money, it really should be. So just keep that in mind. You are going to have a heavier phone in your pocket. It's going to be thicker in your pocket. So if you're worried about that happening or being worried that this is going to get smushed in your pocket, that is definitely something to consider. Maybe even a beefier case than what the Samsung one gives you. I put a pop socket on the back. So if you guys are curious, yes, it does fit pop sockets just fine. And I actually prefer with the pop socket because if you have the S Pen attachment like I do and you lay it on the table, without the pop socket, it actually waddled. It would like, I don't know how to describe it. It just would shift back and forth. Super annoying. So I couldn't actually text when the phone was on a table, but now I can, thanks to the pop socket. So not an endorsement, but it is kind of cool and you can still use it just fine. And I actually really recommend getting something like this because it's so much easier to hold in your hand. The S Pen attachment does give you a little bit of grip, which is really nice, but I will say that the added pop socket just really does help for stability. And talking about the S Pen, let's take that out real quick just to give you guys a quick demo of how this works. It's pretty simple, really. It's just an S Pen. It's a stylus, just like we've seen on the Galaxy Ultra or the old Note series. If you guys used to use those like I did, I absolutely loved them. And then if you're close to the screen, a little window will pop up giving you some gestures and different things you can jump right into for quick access. So you got your create a note, view all notes, smart select, screen write, live messages, pretty much everything we've seen with the S Pen features on Galaxy devices in the past, and it works perfectly on the Fold. You're probably wondering, when you're drawing, for instance, right? So if I were to do screen write, it's going to take a screenshot, and then from here, you can actually draw on it. So let's choose blue and start drawing, right? Do you feel the crease when you're drawing? And honestly, you don't. You have to be really looking for it to really feel the crease. Let's do red so you can see it on camera a little better. You have to be really looking for it to feel it. Do you feel it? Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but it's very minute. It's barely there. So is it something that's going to deter you from actually doing any, like, I don't know, signing papers with this or actually drawing legit stuff within an application with the S Pen? No, it works flawlessly for that. The only thing I will say is, being that it is a plastic screen, it does feel a little bit different than on glass. I'll say more than a little bit. So what I mean by that, it feels more fragile. It doesn't feel like you can press down as hard as you normally would want to, and that's okay. You don't have to, but it is pressure sensitive. The harder you press, the thicker the line's going to be, which is pretty cool. And it can support quite a lot of pressure without actually damaging the display, but it does feel different compared to just glass, so just keep that in mind. But when it comes to the crease, not an issue. I mean, I can draw right over it and I barely feel the crease. And that goes the same for just touching it as well. If you're just using it for everyday use for scrolling, I mean, you can feel it, but it's nowhere near anything that I'm used to, and it's way actually less noticeable than on the Flip 3 that I had prior. So yeah, the Fold is definitely not going to be an issue. The crease is not going to be an issue, I should say. So that's pretty awesome. And then when it comes to actually viewing angles, in direct light, yeah, you can see the crease. I'll try to get it. There you go. In direct light, yes, you can see it, but you have to be looking for it. Literally 2 minutes into using it, it disappeared for me, especially even just looking at it straight on like this. I don't see the crease at all. So they did an absolute amazing job with this. The amount of engineering that goes into making one of these things, I have just can't imagine. It's amazing. So with that, again, this is my first experience with a folding device, or with a Galaxy Fold device, I should say. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Are you looking at purchasing one of these things yourselves now that the Fold 4 is out and about? Or are you just looking to see, well, is that a waste of money? Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on this thing, and I will definitely do a full video review in the near future if you guys would like to see that. So with that, leave a like, share your support. As always, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out.